Alright, one more for this dark ambient quickie session. This is God Body Disconnect's The Depths of Finality. The Depths of Finality is the fourth album from God Body Disconnect, as well as his fourth album for the Cryo Chamber record label. God Body Disconnect, of course, is the solo project of Bruce Moallem. The Depths of Finality was inspired by and ultimately the result of a near-death experience for Bruce. Bruce takes the listener in a much more, I guess, light ambient direction. There's not much in terms of dark ambient on this album. This is a much more ethereal and, I guess, post-rocky kind of sounding album, and it's definitely, it's moving away from that dark ambient ground that, I think Bruce had going on his earlier albums, but it's definitely, he's definitely taking the music to different territory on this album. That's not to take anything away from the album. I mean, it's still a solid album. It is, very emotionally sounding, it's very melancholy, and as it goes with the post-rock sound, as I like to call it, it often has a sort of melancholy mixed with that lingering sense of hope always on the back end. And I guess if you've heard post-rock music projects like Mogwai or Explosions in the Sky, that's kind of how most of their songs are. Once again, and call me crazy if you want to, but I swear to fucking Christ, there is like this new age like vibe getting into a lot of the Cryo Chamber artists these days. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I just keep picking up on more of this, like, these more lighthearted tones and these more ethereal sounds, and, again, it's not bad, I like it. This is very relaxing, very peaceful stuff. I mean, this is an album I've tossed on, when I needed to relax or just, zone out for, a good hour, but, dark ambient is pretty minimal here. It's there in a few songs and a few sections for sure, but it's definitely pretty minimal here. This is definitely, I guess, what you would just call light ambient, white ambient, or just ambient in general. Also, a noticeable difference on this album is the lack of Bruce's voice. For me personally, I always really enjoyed Bruce's narration. Yeah, sure, he's got that weird Jersey accent, and, me personally living in the central part of the United States, I almost never hear that accent, so it's kind of weird to my ears, and I can only assume it's even weird to people who live in European countries, but it's cool and it works, and at least for me personally, it always just reminded me of, like, reminded me of, like, the narration you might see in, like, a gangster movie or something like that, and, above all else, I thought he did it really freaking well. Unfortunately, there's no narration on this album, and that kind of sucks. I wouldn't have minded a few words in the opening monologue, or, even just at the very ending, but it's just, it's interesting because, considering I'm someone who has put spoken word in my own music, I've sort of always felt like the vocals sort of take on this new life once you put them in a song. They're almost like an instrument, and taking them out of this music, it leaves something kind of empty and missing there. I mean, it's almost like, and this is a terrible example, but it's almost like a black metal band starting their career using keyboards, then getting like the third or fourth album and then being like, we're not going to use keyboards anymore. It's sort of like that. So again, if you're looking for dark ambient, this isn't necessarily the album to pick. I mean, it's, again, very ethereal, very melancholy, and always with that sort of lingering sense of hope on the back end. But it is good, but it's just not dark ambient. Since this album came out in October of last year, Bruce has already released a new album, which I will probably check out just to see how he's progressed onto the new thing, but the one sample I heard seemed pretty much to continue on the style, and I don't think there's any vocals either, so we'll see what the future holds for Bruce and God Body Disconnect. Alright, so on the cover we have a picture of Bruce in the woods, and something I neglected to mention in the review is that this album has a really great usage of field recordings, everything from, woodland sounds, water flowing, all kinds of, it's really good, it's really mixed well into the recording, so it really makes it a lot more immersive and very atmospheric. And then on the back cover, we have the track listing and another autumny landscape shot. And another one here with a little information on the album. And we have these other two panels here, which have some text. I mean, it would have been cool if Bruce had said this text in the album, as I kind of already mentioned. And then on the CD, we of course, once again, have the front cover artwork. And then there's a picture of what appears to be a man on a stretcher going to the hospital. So if you're into ethereal drone and ambient music, you're really going to like this album. That is God by Disconnect's The Depths of Finality.